What's up everybody? Today I'm going to show you how to make some corned beef hash. I've lost 150 pounds substituting simple things for stuff I love. Let's get going. Alright, let's talk about these ingredients. First thing up is canned corned beef. I've done a video on who makes the best canned corned beef and you can check that out, but I like this one just as good as any of them. And we'll move on to, we're going to do this a couple different ways, so I've got all the ingredients here. The first one I'm going to make with radishes, and I've got about a pound of radishes here. The next one I'm going to do is going to be with turnips, and I've got about a pound of turnips there. And then of course an onion will go in both of them. So the hardest part about this is going to be dicing all this stuff up and getting it ready. So let me get to chopping it up and we'll move on after I get done with that. So I have to confess, this is really the first time I've ever messed with turnips. I mean, I think we tried one recipe before in the past that involved turnips, but it wasn't me, it was my wife. So it's the first time I've ever done anything with turnips. So I'm excited to see how this comes out. So let's dice these up. We want them to be just a kind of about a 1/4 inch cubes. So we'll get that going. Here's our turnips all chopped up. I have to say I'm very envious of people that can do the slice and dice real fast on TV. I take my time so I can keep my fingers intact, but bottom line is getting the job done, so no matter how long it takes. Now we'll move on over to our radishes and chop those up, and our onion as well, and then we'll get this stuff blended up and move it on. And for the radishes, I'm not peeling them. I guess you can do that if you want to. I'm just going to chop off the end of it there, the little sprig, and then dice these up, so we'll go with that. So here we have all of our stuff diced up and it's ready to go on to the next step. So now that everything's diced up, we're going to put it in a pot. We're going to boil both of them for about 5-10 minutes, somewhere in there, just to get it real tender. We don't want it to turn to absolute mush here, but just kind of real tender, because you know this recipe, well, just about every recipe to me is just as much about texture as it is taste. So I'm really trying to nail down the potato texture, and it's got to be tender. And of course it can't be bitter or anything like that, so the boiling is supposed to remove some of the bitterness in the radishes at least. So let's get it going and see how it turns out. I've got it in here boiling, and I'm going to let these go for about 8 to 10 minutes and then drain them off and put it all together. Bacon grease in there if you got beef tallow or butter or whatever, but if you got tallow or bacon grease, that makes everything better. And what I'm going to do is add my onions and let those get a little head start, and my garlic powder. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of garlic powder there, and then in just a second here we'll add in the radishes and let it get just a little bit of a head start here. All right, now throw this in. Now this will probably pop and crackle a little bit because of the water in the radishes, but just wear long sleeves and you'll be all right. So we're going to let this brown up until the onions are starting to look brown, and then we'll add our corned beef. All right, the onions are starting to brown up just a little bit. Now we'll add in our corned beef, and you can use fresh corned beef or you can use this canned corned beef, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Now the key to this is just getting it all browned up, and I like it a little crusty, so we'll work on that and come back and see the finished product. So the key to good corned beef is when you're cooking it up is get this little crispiness right here. So I just try to leave it alone for a few minutes and let it brown up nice and neat on the bottom, and then give it a good little scraping, and then you get that good brownness there. So just a little, that's how I like mine. You might like yours a little different. So for the second test, I'm just going to do it out here on my griddle. I've already been cooking on it, so I'm going to just throw a little more avocado oil on there and dump out my turnips. Get all those in the griddle there. I'm going to let that get a head start and start browning up a little bit, and then I'll add in my onions and my corned beef. I know a lot of people like cooking outside. I do. I like anything I can cook out here on the griddle or the grill. I love it. So it's only fair that I test this out as well. So we'll let that go for just about 5-10 minutes and start adding some more. I'm going to add my onions now and throw in my spices. And I'm using like a garlic blend spice there. And then we'll just let that cook a little bit longer, just to brown it up a little bit. And then we'll add our corned beef. Now I have to say, these look a lot more like potatoes than the radishes, roasted potatoes here. So I'm looking forward to trying all this. I've got it browned up just the way I like it right there. Now I'm going to add this chunk of delicious canned corned beef. Like I said, if you've got fresh or from a deli, that'll work, but I'm going with this. And I'll just start chopping it up and letting it do its magic. So I've spread it out thin so I can get that caramelization on the bottom there. I'm gonna let it sit here and not touch it for a few minutes, and then get that crispiness on the bottom, and then I'll flip it over and do the other side. Hey, while this is cooking up, let me just remind you to hit the like button, subscribe and all that. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm always about cutting the carbs and trying to lose some more weight and this, that, and another, but I always make good food, I know that. Let's continue on. Oh man, it's taste test time. This is the one that I cooked on the griddle a few minutes ago, and I'm excited. I know what eggs taste like, and this pairs well with eggs. I love it with eggs. Normally I just gob it all up together, but this time for you, I'll keep it separate. But let's try this out. Well, I'll say this, it tricks my brain. That's the name of the game. I probably should have boiled them just a little bit longer to get them a little more tender than I did. But if I had my eyes closed and I was eating this, I would probably say, those are potatoes that hadn't been cooked long enough. But I'm sure that if you cook them, just, you know, stick your fork in them until you get it to the way you like yours. Man, that is good. I've been missing this recipe, and I'm looking forward to eating it right now. So, but before I do, got to take care of a little bit more business. I got radishes to try. Let's go do that. Oh, here we go with the radishes. I'm telling you, now the radishes do look a little weird because I lit the peeling on them. They're kind of a different color than potatoes, but we're going to find out. Wow, the radishes are great too. They're a little more tender. I may have boiled them a little bit longer, or maybe it's because I diced them a little smaller, but that's the texture I like. And so yeah, this one's got great potential. Again, it's all about tricking the brain. I'm glad to have corned beef hash back in my rotation. I never ate it all the time, but every now and again you get to wanting something, and either you can go off of your plan and sabotage yourself, or you can come up with an alternative. And that's what I've done. So I'm going to eat this and enjoy it. So before I go today, I need to have a conversation. Walmart, if you're watching this. Seriously, we need to talk. The canned corned beef used to come with this nice handy dandy key that is sturdy, and you could open the can and it looked like that. I don't know why y'all want to go getting all cheap and everything, but now it comes with this little flat key that was mounted to the bottom of this disaster. You can see what happens sometimes when you're trying to open corned beef. Little pro tip, if this breaks, you can open it with a can opener, or get some needle nose pliers or whatever, a hacksaw, whatever you need to do to get it out, because you can't waste food. But Walmart do better. Come on.